Yeah, so we go on to the main event. This one's Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till. This is a #1 contender fight right here. These two guys are awesome. So Darren Till, he moved up from 170 to 185. He's already done that and fought a couple of fights.
Just one. He beat Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, most recently was Kelvin Gastelum. He's fighting Robert Whittaker, who's the former world champion, and lost it to Israel Adesanya.
Bobby Knuckles.
Yeah, they're both pretty awesome. So Robert Whittaker, he is 20-5 overall. He's from Australia. He's 29 years old, so he's not very old. He's still got a lot of time left in his fight life. And he's going against Darren Till, who, while he's still considered more of a newcomer to the UFC, he's been around for a little while and still only 27 as well.
Yeah, a lot of people know Till from the kickboxing circles and stuff. That's how kind of he had a name coming in, and everyone knew him as a skilled kickboxer.
And just a big guy, a big monster with heavy hands.
Oh yeah.
Darren Till, he's 1-2 in his last 3 fights, whereas Robert Whittaker's 4-1 coming off of his loss, and a bunch of those other ones before that were all title fights.
Yeah.
World title fights.
Yoel Romero twice.
Yeah, Yoel Romero twice. I mean, just think about
Souza,
that right there. Jacare Souza.
Derek Brunson, Rafael Natal.
Yeah, he's definitely got the advantage as far as the championship fight experience, as far as any of this other stuff. Like, honestly, if there was a belt on the line, this would easily be a high-valued pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
There's a ton of guys on this card overall. This is a pay-per-view main event fight right here.
Absolutely.
We get it for free.
And we're getting it free.
Oh, yeah. So let's go back into those stats, though. So 6 feet tall for Robert Whittaker. Darren Till, he's 27 years old. He's also 6 feet tall, but he has an 1.5 inch reach advantage at 75 inches versus 73.5 inches. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, was it Jorge Masvidal said that the hardest person, and Jorge Masvidal is one of the most experienced guys in the UFC.
Yeah.
Said that the hardest guy he's ever been punched by was Darren Till.
I believe so.
Darren Till. So Robert Whittaker's known for being a heavy puncher too.
Yeah.
Robert Whittaker has great power in his hands. He's a very versatile wrestler, and he can snap that kick up to somebody's head real fast.
Yep.
They're the exact same height, so nobody has the height advantage there. What else do you think? What do you think about these guys?
I don't know that I've seen enough of Darren Till at 185. Okay. I mean, 170, we kind of saw him, versus Tyron Woodley and George Masvidal, but he did beat Stephen Thompson and beat Cowboy, who's undersized at 170. He's got some good wins there.
Well, and Cowboy, at that time, Cowboy
was on a run.
He
was beating people.
Yep.
So
it wasn't Cowboy now.
No.
Not to take anything away from Cowboy now, but
yeah, even then, still Cowboy was a bit undersized. That's why he went back down to 155.
And Darren Till was a bit oversized.
And Darren Till was big for 170, and that's why he's up at 185 now.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. I just don't know that he's been in the game enough.
Like sneaky enough, crafty enough, or what?
No, I don't think he's been around the top competition enough. So he's fought, like I said, his last 5 fights. You look at that, Woodley, Thompson, Cerrone, Masvidal, and Gastelum, right?
Yeah.
So he's got some good names there.
Yeah.
But all those guys are also smaller guys. Gastelum was a smaller guy. He was a big 170, but he had weight cutting issues.
Definitely.
I think a lot of his issues came down to his diet, though.
Yeah.
Not really being a 185er that's too big for 170. He just had eating problems.
Yeah.
So he was a small 185 right now. But Till's still a good striker, man.
A very good striker.
And Bobby Knuckles is another very good striker. But Bobby Knuckles can wrestle.
Yes, he can.
And Darren Till can get put on his back. We've seen it.
Yep.
So, for me, I think with the championship pedigree that belongs to Robert Whittaker, I think Whittaker ultimately is going to be the bigger guy in terms of overall mass. With like I said, the championship pedigree, I think Whittaker's just going to be the better fighter overall. I think he can take it down if he wants to. He can stand and trade if he wants to. Either one of these guys have the power to put it away, and it only takes one shot. So I just think that Bobby Knuckles is too good, man. I think Bobby Knuckles is going to be right back in there for another title fight soon. He's going to get back in there, fight Israel Adesanya. He might be 2 fights away, win this one, maybe another one. We'll find out what happens.
Yeah, we'll find out what happens.
But who do you got winning?
Well, I can't go against my boy Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker, he's a wrestler as well, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
He's a Commonwealth Game champion, or Australian Commonwealth Games champion, I think is what it was. This is part of the reason that it made it so hard for Yoel Romero to take him down.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people didn't know that, and I didn't know that then, because at the time.
I think that's when we found out that Bobby Knuckles actually had a wrestling pedigree, because we were like, what the hell? Doesn't he have the same tattoo? Or a similar tattoo for wrestling somewhere? I thought one of his tattoos was a wrestling tattoo.
I don't know. I don't remember. But what I remember, we were researching that fight, and we were looking at it, and this was to see who's going to win in that fight: Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
And then we're like, I don't know. So we're studying them, and then I don't remember if it was me that messaged you or you that messaged me. I think it was me that messaged you, and I was like, dude, Robert Whittaker is actually a national champion in wrestling.
Yeah.
I did not know that he had that good of wrestling. He actually almost stopped fighting for the UFC for a little while to try to make it onto the Olympic team, to represent Australia in the Olympics. He was going to compete one more time in a big tournament for the Commonwealth Games. He was the champion at the time for the UFC, and that ultimately ended up keeping him from competing in the Commonwealth Games the last time. But he has the good wrestling. He's a well-polished champion. He's proven himself against the top guys over and over again.
Yeah.
Darren Till, he's lost 2 of his last 4 fights.
Yep. Those were at 170 though.
They were at 170, and it could very well be a weight cutting issue.
Could have been. He was a big welterweight.
He was a very big welterweight. One of them was to Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley was a champ. It's hard to take him away from him. The other one, like we said, was George Masvidal, who's one of the oldest, but one of the most experienced guys in the UFC, who's had the best year of his career, knocked several dudes out, and then he just actually put up a pretty good fight against Usman when Usman just tried to wrestle him, and he did a pretty good job.
He defended pretty well.
He did a pretty good job.
Not well enough to keep Usman off him, but
no. But I mean, overall, those 2 guys to lose to aren't any slouches.
No, it's not bad losses. They're not bad losses.
Especially when you bounce back and you beat Kelvin Gastelum right after that.
I think if Darren Till wins, it's going to be a really big win.
It's going
to. I think that's going to be.
It'll be a big win for him.
He'll probably be next for.
He will if he beats him. Guarantee you they're putting that next.
But what do you get this fight going? Let's see.
Well, I think that Robert Whittaker is ultimately going to catch him and probably knock him out round 2.
You mother bitch.
You got that one too?
Hold on.
Let me see what you got.
Wait for it. Oh! Dude, the entire card, we have exactly the same except for one fight. This is wild.